So that was Chapter 1. Riho Part 2, Chapter 2. Manabe? Manabe, listen to me, Manabe. Ray's eyes widen as Riho shakes her shoulders. Manabe, are you alright? It looked like you had a nightmare. Manabe feels Rio's concerned eyes on her. Guided by that gaze, Manabe rises from her bed. Oh, it's morning. Yeah, you were moaning back there, so I was worried. I just had a bit of a bad dream. I'm fine now. Yeah, that's good. After a while, Manabe washes her face and fixes her clothes, going back to her normal, snappy self. Alright, we're looking good. Let's go. Some people from the police showed up earlier and said everyone needs to gather in the parlor. Right, the police. So what happened last night wasn't a dream. Yeah. Having that happen to someone you care about so much must be terrible. I'll be fine. I was a big fan of Miss Kana, that's true, but before that, I'm your manager. Smiling back at Manabe, who regained her calm manager demeanor, Riho leaves the room with her. Apparently, Riho and Manabe were the last ones to arrive. The other guests were already gathered in the parlor, and party was held in. Everyone was visibly anxious. Change your clothing, people. Several officers and detectives enter the room as if they'd been waiting for them to arrive. The moment she sees the detective's face, Riho exclaims with surprise. Huh? Inspector Manba! Is that you? Oh, you're Riho and Miss Manabe, too. What are you doing here? We met Miss Kana by coincidence yesterday, and she invited us over. I see. Even if it was a coincidence, you two have a knack for getting caught up in these kind of situations. But we can talk about it later. I have to get to work for now. Right. Manabe's expression hardens as he turns to face the guests. Yes, I'm Toshiro Manba, from the Metropolitan Public Security Bureau. Oh, I will be in charge of investigating this incident. Are all the people involved here? Everyone looks at each other, prompted by that question. Hiroko then raises her voice nervously. Soichi isn't here yet. I did tell him to come, but... Soichi. Who was that again? Oh, the victim's younger brother, yes? Mama speaks while flipping through a memo pad, and Hiroko nods in affirmation. Well, then we'll speak to him separately later. Anyway, for now the victim's cause of death is clear. Asphyxiation due to suffocation. The estimate time of death of last night, around 2200. Suffocation. Something about what Manba said comes across as odd to Riho. He should have seen the rope marks too, so why did he call it suffocation instead of strangulation? While Riho's mind was churning, Manba kept on speaking. Yeah, so with that in mind, so as hard as it is to say this, all of you who were in the estate yesterday are currently suspects. Only potential suspects, of course, but we ask for your cooperation with the investigation going forward. And also, please refrain from going out until you have our permission to do so. Everyone started murmuring at Manabe's words. No, I have to go back to Tokyo as soon as possible. That's right. I need to get back to my writing, or I might miss my deadline. And I have my store to attend to. Silence, please. Silence, everyone. We intend to conclude this investigation and lift your restriction as fast as possible, so please cooperate with us. I believe we'll be calling you all personally later, so please keep what I've said in mind. Wait just a moment. Having relayed necessary information, Manabe exits the parlor hurriedly, left in his wake of everyone else filled with anxiety and displeasure. My word, what do we have to be confined to this place? This is absurd. Agree, especially since the estimated time of death was at 2200. We were still at the party at that time. So maybe it wasn't done by any of us. Perhaps Miss Kana wandered outside and was accosted by a burglar. I don't know about that. I can't imagine someone just passed by and did the act. What do you mean? I mean, this is a remote place, and it was nighttime without any illumination outside. Can you imagine someone just walking in here? I suppose that's true. It seems much more likely that one of us snuck out of the parlor and did the deed, and I do believe all of us left for the restroom for a few minutes at one point or another. But it's absurd. None of us have any reason to kill Miss Kana. Who's to say? For example, you always seem so neurotic, as if Kana always throttled you about with her frivolous attitude. A grudge, perhaps? But what are you saying? If anyone's suspicious, it would be... Yes, what about me? You'd be envious of Miss Kana, you who eclipsed you in both sales and reviews despite being younger. What? How rude! Calm down, you two. Suspecting each other now won't do us any good. Mr. Azono, I do believe you went too far. You are at the same age and profession as her, Miss Hiroko, and with Miss Kana dead, the copyrights will be transferred to you. I would never kill Miss Kana for something like that. I wonder. Riho watches over the unsightly exchange from the distance and sighs. Staying away was a good idea. Saved us the trouble of getting caught up in that. It really did. The anxiety must be making them act like that. Oh, blah, blah, blah. A little tired. A little dizzy. I keep getting a little bit dizzy. I hope I'm not getting a cold. I have work tomorrow morning. I can't be getting a cold. Manabe, didn't what Manba said back there feel off to you? What do you mean? I saw rope marks on the corpse when I checked it yesterday. That means Kana was strangled by some kind of wire or rope. But he said suffocation. Normally you'd assume he'd call it strangulation or suicide by hanging. Right. That's what felt off to me. We should ask Manba about it later. Yeah, let's do that. Excuse me. So what do we do? You recorded that party yesterday, right, Manba? Manabe? Yeah. Yes, I thought it'd be nice to commemorate it. I left it running on the shelf, though, so it only has footage of one point. Well, that would be useful. Let's check it out. The estimated time of death was 2200, so let's confirm who excused himself at that time. I see. Yes, I understand. All right, let's go back to our room, then. Why give me a choice? Just go. Having returned to the room, the two immediately play the video. The estimated time of death was 2200, so let's check the footage just before and after that time. Let me get the hour of footage then. It's long, so I'll fast forward through it at 3 times the speed. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah. So Kana left around 21:30. And she didn't come back after that. Yes, she told us about Kanayago and left the parlor while we were checking the trolley. We went out to look for Miss Connor and found her body about 2300. What exactly happened at that time frame? What was Miss Connor even doing there? It's like Tomizawa said. It was a nighttime and without any lights. Why go there without a flashlight? Well, even without a flashlight, she could use her cell phone for light, but that didn't explain what she was doing there. The footage shows that Hiroko left the party once. After Miss Kana left, Hiroko went out for 15 minutes, maybe even went to check on her because she was gone for too long. That seems likely, but after coming back, she hadn't left the room until the party broke up. Alright, so don't look at that one again. Kano was the one that left the room the most often, but that makes sense since he was setting the table. Right, whenever he came back, he was pushing the trolley with the dishes, so it's safe to assume he was preparing it or when he was out of the room. Right. So, Azono is Miss Kana's editor, right? Apparently, but I think the author he's been in charge of dying was a huge shock. I wouldn't be able to take it. What? Why are you staring at me? I just thought, wow, she really loves me, huh? Manabe cocks her head quizzically, unable to understand what Riho was getting at. But upon having come to some conclusion, Manabe's face flushes red. What? No, I didn't mean it like that. I guess we'll leave it at that. Hey. Anyway, it looks like Izono didn't leave the party even once. Apparently, he didn't have to go to the bathroom. Ah, the joys of being a man. You have a much sturdier bladder. Well, he hardly got anything to drink. Well, I guess he abstained from drinking since he had a meeting scheduled after the party. Right. Being an editor sounds tough. Tomozawa left the room a few times. She left once after Miss Kana went out too. She left 4 times or so, but all of them were only for a few minutes, so she probably went to the bathroom or to fix her makeup. Yeah, I can't imagine she murdered someone in just a couple minutes. Well, you wouldn't normally assume it's possible. Soichi, he left as soon as Miss Kana did the toast. He's Miss Kana's younger brother. They said he's an artist who's very bad with people. I suppose he didn't want to be part of an event, even an event like this. But we had the post at 20:30, so he has no alibi for Miss Kana's estimated time of death. I suppose that's what it means, but Kana was his sister, and she supported him when he couldn't make a living. I suppose that's true, but but we can't make assumptions about him when we haven't even spoken to him once. Maybe he had a complex over how successful his sister was. Talking about hypotheticals won't get us anywhere. We should talk to him later. Right, let's do that. Okay, so almost everyone had times when they were out of the parlor, but it was always 15 minutes at most. And to get from here to the hollow Kanadaiden, I think you'd have to walk for 20 minutes, maybe 10 if you ran. In other words, none of the people in this estate could have killed Kana. I'd like to say that, but the only exception is Soichi. Oh right, Soichi left early, but there's another possibility. What other possibility? Well, it's possible someone could have killed Kana after she left the parlor and then carried her over to the hollow. We only went out to look for her after an hour after the... Okay. We only went out to look for her an hour after the party ended. I just don't like how they write these sentences. And they're missing an A. This... Plenty of time to carry her corpse over there. I see, but you know carrying a dead body that far is pretty hard labor. We didn't hear any cars, so it's unlikely they took her there that way. Maybe a bicycle towing a cart or a trailer. Those aren't suited for carrying a body, but there is another option. There is? What? Tell me. I mean, maybe the god Kanayago snatched the body away. What? Cut that out. No scary stories. But it does fit the story about Kanayago perfectly, and the hollows we found her in is an entrance to the mine it's related to. And we heard that growling and howling last night. Nope. That's a big nope. Anything that looks supernatural at first sight always has a rational explanation. Huh. Right, I guess I'm just still shocked. Now I'm starting to have weird delusions. You know what clears those up, right? Investigating the hell out of the case. A huge fan like you should avenge Kana's death. Right. Yes, you're right. Let's go. Riho to Chiro and Manabe leaves the room. Oh, so many rooms. Let's start at the entrance. They head for the entrance where they find an officer standing guard. Currently, everyone in the Capricious Hall aren't allowed to leave. Please refrain from leaving until the questioning is over. We're not going far, or, well, we just want to talk to Inspector Monba. The inspector? We're an acquaintance with him. We've assisted him in an investigation before. Please wait one moment. The officer pulls out a transceiver and changes a few words. Eventually, the inspector seems to confirm their story as the police officer puts away the transceiver and softens his expression. The inspector gave his permission, so allow me to escort you to the hollow. The inspector is currently checking the scene where the body was discovered. Understood, thank you. The officer escorted them, partially to monitor them, as the two made the way to the hollow. Hey, you two, didn't expect to run into you on another crime scene. I feel the same way, but we do feel safer with you here, Inspector Monba. Glad to hear it. So you said you wanted to speak with me? Yes, actually, we had a camera rolling during the entire party. It should help with the established alibis for everyone in the parlor. Oh, really? That's a huge help if you could help supply that data now. Not so fast. We have a condition. A condition? What exactly? It's simple, really. Earlier, when you explained the cause of death, you said it was suffocation. Could you explain why you said that? Why I said that? Well, I think it's clear. When we found the body last night, I saw rope marks on the victim's neck. The cause of death should be strangulation, right? Well, you two are still suspects, so I probably shouldn't be speaking to you about this. We're willing to share important footage data. This should prove we're on your side, Monba. Yes, we did crack a case together. All right then. Yes, there were definitely rope marks, but autopsy report posits that they were inflicted on the victim post-mortem. Post-mortem? Correct. We found some rope that was likely used in the process lying nearby. Its thickness matches the mark, so there's no doubting it. In other words, the victim was suffocated in some manner and then propped up to make it seem like they were strangled. Which means they left the rope here to mask the murder method. In other words, there's a chance the crime wasn't committed here. Yes, however, that's the hard part. No one left the estate until you went out to search for her. If nothing else, no one went outside since the party started and until you all went to search for her. Well, how can you say that for sure? The estate is contracted with a security company. When the doors leading outside open, it leaves the record, and there's no records for last night. Of course, the security cameras also confirm that no one left. It's impossible for someone to commit the murder indoors, then carry the body out here, even if this is a crime scene. How did the victim get here? It's like she was teleported here. I can't deny that thought crossed my mind. I'd actually like to ask you too. When you went out to look for Miss Kana, was it possible for someone to carry the corpse over somehow? No, it's impossible. We went outside together, so we'd have noticed if someone did. Yeah, no one was carrying anything but a flashlight. Which just leaves the possibility of some secret path. There's definitely some strange tricks to the interior of the estate. Maybe there's a passage leading outside. If they were so cautious of a burglary that they hired a security company, not telling them about the passage strikes me as pretty careless. It would come across as weird. Who'd expect a passage leading outside? Now then, I should be getting back to the investigation if is that all you want to ask. Yes, that should be everything. We're sorry for taking your time. We'll leave the footage data with the officers. Yes, please do. Riho and Manabe part ways with Manaba and Manba and to return to the state. I didn't think about how many M names we got here. Manba, Manaba. They find an emaciated Hiroko in the reception office. She looks listlessly out the window as if her soul has left her body altogether. Is this where you are? So this is where you were, Hiroko. Shutting myself off in my room just made me feel more depressed. Hiroko, why did this happen to Kana? I don't know what to say. We should come again later. Enter the parlor, they find Kono wiping a table with an exhausted expression. How did it come to this? Have you known Miss Kana long, Kano? She's been supportive of my cooking for a long time. When I opened my business, she offered a financial aid. Oh, yes, your cooking yesterday was quite delicious. Miss Kana had first-rate taste in cuisine as well. Yes. I'm sorry, but can I ask what became of the financial aid she gave you? The police just asked me about the same thing. Thankfully, my business is doing quite well, and I've long since repaid the money she lent me. Ah, understood. I'm sorry, that was a rude thing to ask. Looks like he doesn't have any motive for killing Miss Kana. They arrive at Shiho Tomazawa's room. Riho finds her sitting in deep contemplation. She's standing, in my opinion. You need something. Oh, I just wanted to ask you for your thoughts about Miss Kana's death. It saddens me. We were always close. I felt that I often took care of that one as she grew into an author. I see. Except with this, Kana's property goes to Soichi. Huh? I hear that they have no other relatives. I'm sorry about what happened at the parlor earlier. I said things that made everyone anxious and agitated. I don't know what came over me. Not at all. Everyone was on the edge as it was, for good reason. Yes, that's quite right. I was quite confused and angry as well. It's all clear now after I've taken some quiet time to think things over. What do you mean? Soichi did it. None of the people in the party had the time to go into the hollow and kill Kana. It was impossible to kill Kana and carry her over to the hollow. A round trip to the hollows where we found the body would take 40 minutes, and none of the people in the party were gone for that long. I guess that's mystery author for you, so she's noticed that too. Yes, the footage that took proves that. Right, in other words, everyone that were in the party have an alibi. And Soichi had the inheritance matter as motive, and no alibi since he wasn't in the party with us. No one but him could have killed Kana. But that's not enough to say Soichi's the killer for sure. What, are you siding with him? He has the inheritance as a motive and no alibi for the crime. No, that's just circumstantial evidence. You can't just pin the blame on Soichi with that. That'd be awful. I see. Then let me tell you this, then. I have one more proof that he's the killer. Proof? Proof? When we gathered in the parlor after we found Kana's body, I saw it. There was something that looked like red blood on his sleeves. Paint? He's an artist. Blood? Yes, it must have been splattered on him when he killed Kana. He tried to hide it, but I happened to see it when he was headed back to his room. And I grabbed his arm and asked him what was the meaning of that. He just shook off my hand and ran off. I went after him, but he shut himself in his room and is still refusing to leave. See? It's like he admitted to being the killer. Blood, huh? Kana was choked to death, but there was bloody scratch marks on her throat. If Soichi really is the killer, it makes sense that his sleeve would be dirty with blood, but... paint. Riho finds Ozono pacing nervously in his room. Yes? Oh, I just wanted to ask you if you know anything about Miss Kana's passing. Do I know something? Well, I know my upcoming publishing schedule is ruined. What about the book? My schedule's a mess as it is. I need to hold an emergency meeting as soon as I get back. How do I break the news? Who even did this? We have to clarify that, or we won't be able to leave. Calm down. But be quiet, just get out. But... Riho, there's no point right now, let's just go. Riho follows Manabe's advice and leaves the room. This is Soichi's room, but the door is locked and there's no reply when they knock. Soichi, we need to talk to you about last night. Maybe he's pretending to be out. After the whole incident happened, the police forbid everyone from leaving the Capricious Hall after all. Soichi, please let us talk to you. Riho calls him a few more times, but no response comes. I guess he's a bona fide shut-in. Well, he can't refuse a questioning, and pretending he's out won't work with police. Well, for now, let's leave him to the police, I guess. Ouch! Riho returns to the room and upon raising her arms realizes her shoulders are stiff to the point of hurting. This much because of how nervous we were since yesterday. With that in mind, Riho stretches her body, finding not just her shoulders, but just about all her muscles feel stiff. Oh wow, this is bad. Riho decides to stretch for a while with Manabe so as to ease their muscles. Alright, still not you. Okay. Alright, not there. Back to the parlor. Right, there's something I want to ask you, Kono. Me? What is it? Oh, nothing major. Remember how Miss Kana appeared on the stage yesterday? It's about that. Did you help her by using your trolley, Kono? You mean that? I'm surprised you figured it out. Miss Kana said she wanted to throw a little surprise, and I agreed to help. So that's what happened. Seeing our theory was correct is a relief. But I'm impressed. I thought Miss Tomizawa was the only one who cracked the secret of that trick. I thought it was natural, since she was a mystery author too, but it was truly impressive to see young ladies like you figure it out too. Oh, nah. It's, it's all in a day's work. This little quirk's just a bit of a perk. Clerk. Huh? Well, anyway, so you figured it out, hmm? In that case, can you solve the trick behind Miss Kano's disappearance? The trick behind her disappearance? You mean how we found her body in that hollow? No, not that. I mean before that, the way she disappeared from the parlor during the party. Huh? What do you... Around that time Miss Kana disappeared, I was looking at the entrance of the parlor the whole time. So I can swear it on my name when I say that Miss Kana did not pass through the exit, and yet she somehow disappeared. Kana wasn't seen leaving the parlor. So you're saying Miss Kana disappeared from the parlor despite not going through the exit? Exactly, assuming I wasn't so intoxicated I missed her. I get it. Riho looks around the parlor. It was decorated from the walls and up to the ceiling. There is nothing that looks like it might hide an exit. There is a window, but it's set pretty high up. Going through it there is going to be hard. But there might be some tricks here, like with the revolving door in our guest room. By the way, Riho, I think when we checked yesterday's footage, Miss Kana really did disappear at some point. Though it wasn't all that focused on it at the time. Seriously? I can't say for sure. Alright, let's check the footage again. Yeah, let's do that. The two hurriedly make to leave the parlor, hurrying back to their room to check the footage. Hurriedly hurry, you're overusing words here, darling. I need to use the restroom though, so I will be right back. Oh, there we go. Okay. Onward with the investigation, now that my bladder is empty. Excuse me. Riho and Manabe return to their room and check the party's footage again. So Kana disappears at around 21:30 or so. I'll fast forward to that time. Manabe moves the seek bar, fast forwarding to footage to slightly before Kana disappeared. Here, there's Kana right before she disappeared. It looks like she's making sure no one's looking in her direction. She is, though now she's out of frame. It doesn't look like she's heading for the exit. And that's it. Huh? This is where Kana disappeared from the parlor. Which means, maybe there was another exit. I suppose this room has a secret door and the elevator from the first day. This house has a lot of secret tricks to it. Between the room's secret door and the elevator, Miss Kana showed us on the first day here, this house has a lot of strange tricks. She prepared such a surprise just to make her entrance to the party. I wouldn't put it past Miss Kana to set up gimmicks like this in her house. Ah, but we really didn't notice. I just thought she left normally. Common sense is our blind spot, I suppose, but this could be our key for solving the case. Right. Chances are the culprit knew about this. If they didn't, how could they find Kana after she disappeared? Because it's all a ruse. It's all fake. It's all set up. Yes. Anyway, let's try to figure out the trick behind this gimmick. Roger that. Having finished their investigation, Riho and Manabe returned to their room. Let's take a shower, wash off all this sweat, and try to figure this out one more time. Say, what do you think about Miss Kana's death? Well, I'm sad, of course. I would have loved to read more of her novels. And I would have loved for you to act in an adaptation of her book and then show it to Miss Kana. Manabe. Manabe closes her eyes quietly, but then opens them again, as if having come to conclusion. I can't believe some passing-by murder did this. It's only natural to assume someone who was in the capricious halls yesterday did this. And that means, like Tomizawa said, the most suspicious person is Soichi. He has no alibi and does have a motive. And there was the matter of the blood on his arm. We have to talk to Soichi somehow and ask him about it. You're right, but how do we get into his room? Don't you feel like we still don't know too many things? Huh? About this estate and Soichi, I think we need to investigate this a little more deeply. Remember what Kono said. He doesn't recall seeing her leave the parlor. That might be related to how Kana was carried to the hollow. True. There's still a lot of questions floating around the incident. Answering them one by one might be our key to solving this mystery. Yeah, let's investigate how Kana left the party again. There should be a clue somewhere in the parlor. You're right. Let's head for the parlor. Let's go! They were likely in the middle of questioning Kano because when Riho and Manabe arrived at the parlor, they find it silent and empty. Now then, since there's no sign of Kana leaving through the exit, there should be another way out of this room and somewhere around here. Judging by the small room trick we saw in our room, this isn't going to be simple to solve. Yeah, time to use the old noggin. At the very end of the right-hand side of the hall is an open door leading to a small room. This is a cloakroom? Looks like it, but it's a bit small. A cloakroom was a space for storing clothes. It was likely built along with the stage to be used by whoever performing on it. Peeking to the room, Riho finds it doesn't seem to lead to a staircase or anything of the sort. I guess you wouldn't usually put an emergency staircase in a cloakroom. But are you sure? I thought there might be a backstage basement somewhere. There isn't anything, though. It's just a normal small stage. Let's check this room again. I should check inside anyway, just to be on the safe side. The two step through the door and go inside. Upon pulling the curtain open, they find nothing but a hanger hanging in the height of one's head. Nobody used this place last night, right? Well, it's summer, and it was a casual party, so nobody came with a cloak or coat. Makes sense, but the cloakroom is extremely cramped, so much so it felt narrow with two of them inside. Cramped space, empty hanger, and is totally dark with no light. This situation gave her an odd sense of deja vu. It felt like she had been somewhere like this before. Where was it again? What's wrong? I feel like I'm going to remember something, but it just won't come out. At a time like this, close your eyes and take a deep breath. Try thinking back on what happened last time. Right, let me try. Riho closes her eyes and sharpens her senses, keen to trace back the thread of that memory. I passed through a cramped place, then bumped into something soft, and then... Hey, if you do it there, I can't get out. Oh, right, sorry. Riho moves aside with her eyes closed, as she feels her shoulder bump against something. What was that? You just bumped against the coat hanger. Oh, that hanger. Wait, the hanger? Riho's eyes open with surprise. Was this what I bumped on my back then? Riho, what's wrong? If it is... Riho pushes past Manabe and heads for the back wall, and then rolls up the velvet furnish and is hard... And rolls up the velvet furnishing... God damn it. And then rolls up the velvet furnishing as hard as she could. They put an "it" in there. And beneath it she reveals that it is clearly an elevator door. We did it! I did it! I found it! This is... Manabe, do you remember the first time we were here? Miss Kana was showing us around the capacious hall. Right, but do you remember she blindfolded us and took us to the 3rd floor? I was blindfolded back then, but I heard myself bumping into something, and it sounded exactly like that coat hanger. Now that you mention it, it does make sense. Your intuition is surprisingly sharp in the most useless ways. But there's an elevator here. This might have been how Miss Kana left the party. Right. She probably snuck in here when no one was looking and used the elevator. Right. But where did she go? That's what we need to check. The two squat as they cross through the low door and quickly enter the elevator. Huh? What's wrong, Riho? One of the elevator's button just says B. What do you think it means? From the top to bottom, the elevator button says 3, 1, and B. Judging from their position, it probably means basement. So there's a basement! We need to check it out. Yeah, I'm curious about the 3rd floor, but we should probably check the basement first. We were never down there. We might discover something new. Right, we can go to the 3rd floor later. After operating the elevator's panel, they easily reach the basement level. They find themselves in a cold space. They see no windows, though that was to be expected since they're underground. It's a good thing there's lights on, but this place is creepy. It looks like the upstairs. Anyway, there are a few rooms here. Let's check them out. Alright, let's do it. And we'll do Suichi last. They find a room with a plate that says Vacuum Laboratory on the door. Vacuum Laboratory? I think you can drain all the air from this room. Huh, isn't that, like, dangerous? Vera, if you create a vacuum in this room while someone's inside, they'll definitely die. And when there's a vacuum, you can't open the door from the outside because of the air pressure. That's crazy dangerous. Why is there this kind of room here? I don't know, maybe she experimented with it for a trick she'd use in one of her novels. Making a whole room just for that? That's pretty excessive. The room falls silent again. The vacuum equipment doesn't seem to be operating. Still, the two of them look inside timidly. Rooms like this usually have an emergency stop button. There, see? It has one. Next to the door is a red button with the text "Emergency Stop" written next to it. You were right, huh? What? This switch looks broken. Rio tries to push the button a few times, but it doesn't budge. It looks like a button's broken because someone applied force to it in the wrong direction. A vacuum laboratory with an emergency stop button that doesn't work. If anything were to happen inside, there'd be no stopping it. And you wouldn't know this button is out of order until you touch it. Hey, do you think maybe Miss Kana... It's possible she suffocated to death in here, yes. We probably shouldn't touch anything. The police will want to investigate the place later. Right. Did you naturally tiptoe out, leaving the room silent? Okay. My initial suspicion is this is all a ruse. I like, cliche as it might be for that the mystery author who likes to, like, have all these secret doors is planned it all. Upon opening the door, Riho and Manabe are greeted by the sight of bookshelves packed with books. Whoa, look at all those books! This is probably Miss Kana's reference room. Oh, there's a pneumatic system up here too. Right, she sent material to her studies from here. There's an intercom next to it, so she probably used it to specify what material she wanted sent up. That's convenient, but I get the feeling that she didn't really need to set something like this up. That's just Miss Kana's playful nature. Well, can't judge a person for having a hobby, I guess. As they enter the room, the countless portraits lining the walls draw their attention. Wow, so many pretty paintings! This must be a studio. Rio looks at the room's center. A single painting stands there, propped up on a wooden stand. Hey, look at this! This is... On the canvas is an image of a woman smiling with a building in the background. There are some blank spots in the portrait, so it's likely still in the process of being drawn. Isn't the woman in the middle here Miss Kana? That's definitely her. The building behind her, it's still only half drawn, but... Yeah, it can't be anywhere but the Capricious Hall. You can't mistake the silhouette. The painting around the Capricious Hall drawing is moist compared to the rest of the painting. Ria rubs the spot gently, only to have a bit of scarlet paint cling to her fingers. I knew it! Someone drew this painting just recently. I don't think it was Miss Kana who drew this painting. Yeah, I can't imagine she'd draw herself with this building as the backdrop. It was probably Soichi who drew this. Miss Kana did say he was an artist, which means he knew about this elevator and go back to the basement too. I didn't imagine we'd find some place like this in the basement. I mean, all these rooms are really weird, and we didn't find any passages leading outside. Right, even if she snuck out of the party through here, she didn't have a way out of the estate. Right, except we did discover the vacuum laboratory and one more big piece of information. A big piece of information? Yes. For now, let's go back up. With this bit of information, we should be able to talk. Huh? Wait, what do you mean talk? Hey, Riho! Riho doesn't answer Manabe's question, simply pulling her by her arm back to the elevator.